Hello to all new students. Welcome to the Institute. Today we are going to give you some tips about listening. So let's take a look. As we know, listening is a vital social skill and it is a process of receiving and interpreting the words. It is involved hearing, understanding, comprehending, and interacting. We can communicate with other people using a language. We are all the time listening, maybe a movie, a song on the radio, or just listening our students. But are we really listening to? Next, we are going to talk about listening at school. In English language classes, listening is an essential part that we believe should be present in every class. Listening is an important practice to accustom their ears and to make them listen not only to the teacher, but also to other accents and other ways of expressing themselves. Students often don't like the practice of the skill because they find it difficult and sometimes demotivating. During these 2 years of study, we have learned that we must follow what is called the top-down procedure, which means going from the easy to the difficult.
For this reason, we offer you these tips to follow. The first tip is lead in. We must to create the atmosphere about what they are going to listen. For example, if the listening is about a trip to London, we can ask questions such as, have you ever visited London? The second tip is pre-teaching. We must pre-teach the most important words. The aim is to select some words that you think they will not understand and that could make it difficult for them to carry out the exercise. These are new words or words that you are sure they will not know. It is important at this point to insist on pronunciation as they are going to listen to them, not read them. And we want to make sure that they will be able to identify them. We can set up an activity by putting the words on the board or maybe doing a matching exercise. Another tip is motivation. In listening, learning process needs motivation that can support and improve their skills. The appropriate motivation is the key to get success to be a good listener. The primary motive for learning a language is that it provides a means of communication.
The third tip is listening for gist. The first task is always the simplest. The students have to listen to the recording for the first time, but the task is so simple that they understand it. It is about asking them a question that has to do with the general meaning of the recording. The synthesis activities could be giving them images that represent moments on the story that they will hear and that the students will order based on the facts, or simply ask them, what do you think is the relationship between the two characters? Listening for specific information. At this stage, after hearing the test at least once, they may be faced with a somewhat more difficult task. This time, we will ask you specific information about what is said in the recording. Questions like why, where is it, lots of, when. This will force them to use the registration language and help them complete the task. They might need to listen to the recording at least twice to complete the task successfully.
Language focus. Now that they have listened to the recording at least 3 times, we can propose the activity that involves a higher level of difficulty. It is possible that even if they have managed to complete the above task and have listened to the recording multiple times, they may still not be able to incorporate the expression they have heard and use themselves. It is time to turn their attention to specific words, location, or structures that appear in the recording and have them practice so that we can move from the passive to active knowledge. This is when we can put activities to fill in the gaps taken from the transcriptions.
Follow up. Finally, to finish the class successfully, we propose a small closing activity in which they are forced to produce using what they learned in class. If the listening was about a plane trip, we can ask them to recount a trip they made and tell us about their experience.
In short, it's about exploiting the recording to the maximum, making them to lose their fear of listening. teaching them skills necessary for day-to-day life.
They learn new vocabulary and structures from the recording, and we have to help them to incorporate them into their passive and active knowledge. It is essential to always provide them with a goal, nothing to just listen, without a task mark in advance. With this structure, listening activities are based and prepare them for real life. This point must be taken into account for a good class.
About planning. A plan helps to remind teachers what they intend to do, because sometimes for any reason we get distracted and forget. If this happens, it's easy if we have a plan, so we can check and go back to the point we were working with our students.
Sometimes the plan needs to be modified in some cases. One of them is when we use technology in our classes and we probably have problems with the recorder, or we forgot the material, or at that moment we are running out of internet. Again, the plan needs to be modified. And finally, here are some extra tips. I hope you take it into account and that you like the presentation. See you later.
See you later.
See you.